Hello everyone, welcome to our Python programming language class. So, in our last video lecture we have already discussed the while loop, that is the event controlled loop, or we can call it as a conditional loop, and we have left with a counting loop. That counting loop can be implemented by using the for loop, and there are no provision for the do while loop in case of Python programming language. In our upcoming videos, we will learn how to implement the do while nature in case of Python programming language. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss the for loop, that is the counting loop. So, what is that counting loop means? That means before the execution, before we go to the loop condition, we know, our system knows that how many times the loop body will get executed, where to start and where to stop to executing the loop body. So, let us see what is actually the for loop, how we can implement the for loop. So, the syntax for loop is for I in sequence. So, this is the syntax for loop. I is the loop variable that we are going to use in case of loop. Then what is the sequence? If you remember, when we learned the data types, the different data types that are present in Python programming language, we come across the sequential data types. Those are maybe your list, maybe tuple, maybe dictionary. These are the sequential data types. So, sequential data types means, in case of number data type, if we have a number variable, that is a, suppose a is a variable, here we can store 5 only. That means a single literal can store in case of variables. 5 is the single literal, that is the number literal, that is going to store in a. That is why a should be a integer variable. But in case of list, tuple and dictionary, these are the sequential data types. That means sequential numbers, the numbers in some sequence are different datas on different data types, like your number, maybe integer, maybe float, maybe character. So, different types of datas can be stored in case of sequential data types. I can take a list, suppose student, and I can store there the student name, the student roll number, the student address, the student phone number, all these datas can be stored in case in the student list. So, that is a list. So, till now we are not familiar with these list, tuple and dictionary. In our upcoming videos we will go for them, but now in our today's class we can implement this sequence by using a range function. So, what is that range function? That means there are some sequence of numbers, we have to instruct the computer where to start, where to stop, and what is the step size. That means how we are going to increment those sequence or how we are going to decrement those sequence, that we can instruct the computer by using the range function. So, in today's class we are only concerned about the range function. In our upcoming videos, when we will learn the list, tuple and dictionary, then we will go for the sequence, those are list, tuple and dictionary. Now, let me modify this. So, the sequence is, here the sequence is range. So, syntax means for I in range. And how to define this range? We have to define this range like, here is the start, here we have to stop, and this is the step size. Range function has 3 numbers of attributes. The first one is start, second one is stop, then third one is step size. If you remember, in case of looping, there are 3 main parts in our looping. The first part is our initialization, the second part is our condition, and the third part is our updatation. That means before we are going to the loop, we have to initialize the loop variable, then we have to check some condition, then we have to update that loop variable so that that cannot be a infinite loop. So, to terminate the loop, we have to update the loop variable. So, these are the three main parts in case of looping, that may be a while loop, that may be a for loop. So, let us see how we can implement this initialization, condition and updation in case of range function. So, the syntax for range is for I in range, and we have to mention three attributes, that is our start, stop and step size. Suppose here range, I can say range suppose 1, 20 and the step size is 1. So, this means the first element in the range is what? This is the start. So, the first element is what? 1. Here is the stop. That means if I mention here n, the last element will be n minus 1. So, here I have mentioned 20. So, the last element should be 20 minus 1, that is 19. Here I am excluding this 20. If I want to print 1 to 20, then I have to mention 1 and 21. Because if I want to mention 20, I have to set the upper range as 20 plus 1. That 21 will be excluded from the range. Next, what is this? This is step size. That means the difference is what? Difference is 1. Okay. So, this actually means from 1 to 19 with difference, with unit difference. With unit difference. The first element is what? 1, the difference is 1, then the next element will be 2, then 3, then 4, then 5 up to 19. When we reach that 19, that means the last element has encountered. Now, we have to stop executing the iteration statements. So, in general the range function has three attributes, that is start, stop and step size. The start is the optional, step size is also optional, that we may mention the start and stop step size, or we may omit this. So, and the stop, that attribute is mandatory. The programmer should mention where to stop. So, suppose if I am writing here range 5. So, what does that means? Here this is the second attribute, because this is the mandatory. So, the interpreter interprets that 5 is the second attribute, that means we have to stop at 5 minus 1, that is 4. So, what about the start and step size? So, here the default value is 0, that means the range should be start with 0, and here the step size, the default value is 1. So, the 0 is the default value for start and 1 is the default value for step size. So, what actually it means? It means 0 to 4 with unit difference. If I mention suppose range only n, so what actually it means? 0 to n minus 1 with unit difference. Like that, if I mention suppose range 5 comma n, then what actually it means? 5 to n minus 1 with unit difference. And suppose range n comma 2, so what actually means? 0 to n minus 1 with 2 difference. So, we have to remember, if the start and step size has been omitted, then the default value for start is 0 and the default value for step size is 1. So, we have to start here for each item in the sequence. We have to check each item in the sequence. Then we have to check the condition, that is the last item has reached. We have to check is the last item has reached, or if the last item has encountered. If no, if we have not encountered with the last item, then we can go for the body of for loop. Again we will go back to the condition. Again we have to check, is the last item has been reached? No, then we will go for again the body of for loop. If the last item has reached, that means if the condition is true, we have encountered with the last item, then we will go for the statement below the for. If the last item has reached, then we will go for the statement that is below for loop, and after that the sequential execution or the last line that will be get executed depending on your program. We have some sequence of data, then we will check for a particular list or for a particular sequence or for a particular range, we have to check is the last item has reached. If no, then we will go for the body that will repeatedly executed. Then if the last item has reached, then we will go for the statement that is below the for loop. So, let us see the examples how we can implement the for loop. So, suppose the example 1, we want to print 1 to 10 by using a for loop. So, we want to print 1 to 10. So, we want to print 1 to 10. So, for that we have to write for I is our loop variable and in range. Here we have to mention the start, that is 1. What is the last range, that is 10. So, we have to mention here 11, because we have to exclude the 11 and 11 minus 1, that is 10 will be printed. Then what is the difference? We want to print 1 to 10, that is the unit difference. We want 1, then 2, then 3 up to 10. So, here we have to write the 1, and here we have to follow the indentation by putting a colon here. That means the proper indentation should be followed. So, here I can write print I. So, what will be the output? The output will be 1 to 11, that means actually 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, this will be the output. If I want to change, that means I want first 1 then 3. If I want to print 1 to 10 with 2 difference, then here I can write 2. So, what will be the output? The output will be first is starts from 1, then 1, then with 2 difference, that is 3, then 5, then 7, then 9. Then is what? 11. Here mentioned, we have mentioned the 11. So, 11 will be discarded. Like that, if suppose I want to start from 6 with difference 3, then what will be printed? The output will be, the first is 6, then with difference 3, that is 9, then 9 plus 3 is what? 12, that is out of the range, then 12 will not be printed. So, let us take some example by omitting the start and step size attribute. Suppose for I in range 5, then what will be printed? And here we have to follow the indentation. So, print I. So, what will be the output? The output will be, here the first attribute is missing and the third attribute is missing. So, the default value is what? 0, and here the default value is what? 1. That means the interpreter will interpret this as 0, 5 and 1. So, what will be printed? 0, 2, 4 with unit difference. So, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Suppose I want to change the range attribute. Suppose 1 to 5, this much only. So, this is the first attribute, that is 1, this is the stop variable. So, what will be the output? The output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, because the last step size is 1. So, it will start from 1 and it will end with 4. Suppose I mentioned the step size as 2, then what will be the output? It will start from 1, then 1 plus 2 is what? 3, then 3 plus 2 will be 5. Is 5 will be printed to the output screen? No, because here is the 5, we have to print up to 4 and 5 is out of range, so 5 will get discarded. So, this is the range function we can use in case of for loop. So, the next is how we can decrement the loop variable. If I want to print from 1 to 5, then I can increment the loop variable, that is I equals to 1, and I want to print up to 5, then the stop variable should be 6 and the step size should be 1 or 2 or what. So, that will be incremented. But if I want to print in the reverse order, that is from 20 to 10, then how it will be written in case of coding. So, here the initial value is what? 20, we want to print in the reverse order, that is 20 to 10, suppose with unit difference. That means 20, 19, 18, 17 up to 10. So, here the last range is what? 10. So, we have to mention here 9. Okay. So, in case of increment, we are using suppose n, then the last value should be n minus 1. But in case of reverse order, if we want to print n, so that means we have to mention the stop size as n minus 1. So, that will be n will be printed. So, here we want to print 10, so we mention here 9. And what is the difference with unit difference? But here we have to decrement the loop variable, that we have to mention minus 1. Next we have to follow the indentation. So, print I. So, what will be the output? It will start from 20, it will decremented by 1, then 19, then 18 up to it is 9. So, here up to 10. When it encountered with 9, then it will stop executing the print I statement. Like that, suppose I want to print 20 to 10 with 2 difference, with suppose 2 difference. So, here we have to mention minus 2. So, the output will be 20, then 18, then 16, then 14, then 12, then 10. This will be the output. If I want to print with 5 difference, then what will be the output? The output will be first is 20, 20 minus 5, that is 15, 15 minus 5, that is 10. And now 10 minus 5 is 5, which is out of the range. This will be the output for the decrement value. Here we can print the values in a reverse order. So, let us take another example where we can use a if statement inside the for loop. Suppose I want to print from 1 to 20 with difference 3, then what will be the output? Here we have to follow the indentation, print I. So, what will be the output? The output, it will start from 1, then 1 plus 3, that is 4, 4 plus 3, that is 7, then 10, then 13, then 16, then 19. Because here is the 20, so that is 20 minus 1 equals to 19, the last element is 19. Once it encountered with 19, then we have to stop executing the print I statement, that is actually belongs to the for loop. Suppose here I want to print only the odd numbers, the even numbers will get discarded and the odd numbers will get printed in our output screen. So, for that we have to use if statement inside the for loop. The for loop is used for printing 1 to 20 with difference 3, and we want to print only the odd numbers. So, that is why we have to use a if statement inside the for loop. So, how we can use? We can use here if the variable is what? I. If I modulo 2 is not equals to 0, this is the actually the logic for the odd numbers. If that I modulo 2 is not equals to 0, then we can go for the print option, print I. So, let us execute this. It will start from 1, 1 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, true, then it will print it as 1. Then it will again, after printing I, it will go to the range function itself. Then the value will be incremented by 3. The 1 plus 3 equals to what? 4. 4 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, false, then it will go for this, then the value incremented, I value is what, I value now, I value is what, first one is 1, then it will updated as 4, then I value is what, 7, 7 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, true, then the 7 will get printed, then the 7 will get modified and the I value is what, now 10, 10 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, false, then it will go here, then the 10 value will modified with 13, 13 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, true, then 13 will get printed, then 13 will be modified as 16, 16 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, false, then it will get modified with 19, now 19 modulo 2 is not equals to 0, true, then we will go for printing 19, now 19 value is the last element that is in the range, so we have to stop here, the output should be 1, 7, 13 and 19. In this way, we can use a if statement inside the for loop. In our last module, we have seen that we can use a else statement after the while. If the condition is true, the while body will get executed. If the condition will false, then the else body will get executed. Like that, we can use a else statement in case of for loop. So, let us see how to use that. Suppose for I in range 15 to 20 incremented by 2. Suppose I want to print the value of I. Next, we can use a else statement. Here also we have to follow the indentation. The colon means there must be a suit. Suppose here I am printing no value left in the range, and after that we have to change the indentation. Suppose print thank you. So, what will be printed? The range value starts from 15, it will go up to 20 minus 1, that is 19. Here is the difference is what? 2. So, what will be the output? It will starts from 15, then 15 plus 2 is what? 17, then 17 plus 2 is what? 19, and once it encountered with 19, that is the last value in the rings, then it will come out of the loop, that is it will come to the else one. Now, it will print no value left in the range. So, here no value left with the range. Next, the last line, that is out of the for loop, that is thank you. Now, the thank you will get printed in our output screen. So, in this way we can use a else statement for the for loop. I hope you have understood all these things. So, in case of any loop, there are three main parts: initialization, condition and updatation. So, look at here. Here it is the start value, it is the stop value and it is the step size. That means the loop variable is what? I. Actually, here we are initializing the I. That means the range should start from 15. So, here we are saying that I equals to 15. So, this is the initializing statement. Next, come to stop. So, here we are saying the interpreter that we have to stop at 19. That means, here in case of while loop, when we are writing while I is less than 20, actually it is that I less than 20. Here we are checking the condition, is I value reaches 20 or I value reaches at 19, we have to stop. So, this is the condition. The stop means this is actually the condition, and here it is the step size, the 15, then what will be printed? 15 plus 2, that is 17. That means, here we are updating the I variable. So, this is our updatation. So, this is our updatation statement. Here we are updating the variable. So, in case of for loop, we are not explicitly initializing the loop variable, we are not checking the condition explicitly, we are not updating the loop variable explicitly. But in case of range function where we mention 3 attributes, the first start attribute is actually the initializing statement, the second stop, that is actually the condition. Here we checking the condition, is it true? Is it true, then we will go for the loop body. If it is not true, then we will go for the else, or we will go for the, if the else is not mentioned here, then we will go for the statement that is below the for loop. And the last, that is step size, that is actually the updation statement. So, here we can update the I, that is the loop variable. So, this is all about the for loop. I hope you have got some basic idea about the counting loop, that is for loop. Do practice all these things, then you will get some basic knowledge about our loop, our conditional statements, our iterative statements. In our next class, we will go for the practical stuff that we can implement there, the if else and the nested if, the elif ladder, then we will go for while and implementing the for loop. Thank you. Have a great day.